Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What is up, my friend? Welcome to the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I'm excited that you're here hanging out with me today on this beautiful Tuesday episode. Yes. So today's conversation is all about environments. You know, our environments have a huge influence on us, on how we think, on the words that we choose, on the direction that we head in our life. And I really want to reinforce something that you've probably heard in your life before in this episode. So I'm excited to dig in. I want to kick it off with some magic, like we always do. I want to talk about influencing yourself, others, and life in an empowering way. And just as a reminder, the reason why we kick off the show with magic is because that's a huge part of having it all. A huge part of an abundant, loving life is recognizing that you are creating these magical moments in your life all the time. And recognizing that, you have this power to influence yourself, others, and life. And the more that you embrace that and observe that and recognize that, the more you're just going to continue to create magical moments all over the place and realize that you have an abundant, loving life. You just need to align with it and believe it. So my magic right now is all of you who are participating in the Trust Challenge. So we just completed the first week of the Having It All Trust Challenge, and it was awesome. It was so cool. Week number 1, we were all focusing on making physical deposits. So we were moving our bodies, we were stretching, we were getting our heart rate up, we were loving on ourselves physically, and it was a really tremendous week. I influenced myself to run 2 miles a day and did that for 7 days, and it was really awesome. I loved getting out there and running. Running is something that I had a real fondness for years ago, maybe 10 years ago, is when I really started to run, in a major way. And then over time, my affinity towards running went down, even though I kept it up. So I really had to motivate myself to get up and get my sneakers on and go for a run. So this past week was just me, putting those reps in again and in a way falling back in love with running. So it was really incredible, and I absolutely loved watching all of you show up for yourselves and make those deposits. And over in the Facebook page that we have for the challenge, it was just so cool to see everybody posting their videos, posting their photos, and encouraging one another. And I don't know, it was awesome. It was truly magical for me. So I love that. I really do. If you want to sign up for the Trust Challenge, it's still open. It's still going on. So right now we are in week number 2, and this week we are making deposits into our emotional accounts. And so if you want to join us, if you're like, you know what, I've heard Matthew talk about this enough times. I want to be a part of this magic and experience it for myself. You can do so over at my website, matthewbivens.com/trust, TRUST. Go there, you can sign up. The sign-up form is simple. It just asks you, what deposit do you want to make for each of the weeks? And I give you some suggestions on the sign-up page and all sorts of cool stuff. Then you can join us in the Facebook group, and you can just be a part of this magic of loving on yourself and showing up for yourself and building that trust within yourself. It's awesome. So that's my magic for today. I dig it. And I want to send a little bit of listener love out there. And today's listener love, this is pretty cool. It's different because I had a conversation with this person today, and I told her, hey, I'm going to be doing an episode on environments. And so, Jody, today's episode, today's listener love goes out to you. I really loved and appreciated our conversation. It was tremendous. You are tremendous. And I'm just excited for what's to come. And here we are in the episode, Jody, talking about environment. So I told you. And if anybody else wants to reach out to me, have a conversation like Jody and I did, you can do so in a number of ways. You can hit me up on Instagram. That's probably the newest, most, I guess, interesting way. I don't know. I'm still getting used to Instagram, so it's like new and interesting for me. You can hit me up there, Matthew_Bivens, and I've gotten into all sorts of really cool conversations with folks there. You can also hit me up on my email, mattcbivens@gmail.com, mattcbivens@gmail.com. Those are two super direct ways to get in touch with me. And even though my amazing wife, Sarah, is the one who manages my Instagram, I'm still the one who is replying to my direct messages. So if you message me through there, you will hear back from me. So connect. I love the connecting. This is all about connecting. We're all connected. Oh, you know what? What's super cool is I got so much feedback from you all on my episode with my coach and mentor, Day Adioba. And I think everybody who had feedback really, really was impacted when Day was talking about how we are all connected, how each one of us is connected, and how by you just pouring a little bit more love into yourself and showing up powerfully for yourself, and then in turn influencing other people, even if it's just influencing the folks within your household, that because we are all connected, those ripples will go around the world and will touch everybody. And it was just really cool to hear how Day put it, because it was way more eloquent and powerful than how I just put it, but how Day's words impacted you all, particularly around this idea of being connected. So I don't even remember originally why I brought that up, but it was worth sharing. And yeah, awesome. Let's get into today's episode. You know, when I was growing up, my dad used to always tell me, "You are the what is the quote? You are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with." And he used to always tell me that in reference to my friends, because I don't think my dad really loved my friends when I was growing up. And even though I did, and any time that he would say that to me, I used to get so frustrated. I used to feel like that was such a judgmental thing to say by, him essentially telling me, listen, your friends and what they're up to and their energy, you just got to be very aware of it, because in my dad's opinion, it was, they weren't doing much of anything, and I was, a part of that. And so that's what he was seeing for me. And I grew up just really disliking that sentiment. I really didn't like the idea that, I am the people that I hang out with. And it wasn't until many, many years later that I revisited that idea and thought about it from a different way, approached it from a different level of maturity, and just saw how profound it is and how accurate my dad was. For everyone listening right now, I know that you are up to some pretty cool things in your life. Maybe you don't even know it yet, but you are, because you're surrounding yourself with conversations like this one. And when you're up to making shifts in your life, shifts, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, physically, financially, sexually, whatever it is, when you're up to making shifts and changes in your life and you're up to doing big things, you need to be so tuned in and aware of your environments. Because your environments are either boosting you, they're keeping you at a standstill, or they're pulling you down. And by environments, I'm talking about the places that you spend your time. I'm talking about the people with whom you spend your time. And it's so easy to overlook those. It's so easy to just, be in a friend group or be in some sort of social club or social setting, or, engage with certain cliques at work and overlook the impact that those groups, those environments are having on us. But if you're up to big things, if you're playing for growth, if you're playing for healing, if you're playing for being aligned with your greater self, if you're playing for your purpose, then you've got to be paying attention. You've got to. And the reason is because there's a principle that I use to govern my life. Principle is called everything is energy. Everything is energy. And like I said, the energy of the people you hang around, the energy of the environments that you place yourself in, they're impacting you. That energy is impacting you. It's influencing you. It's having an effect on you, whether you like it or not. Because principle is universal truth. You can't debate principle. So you cannot debate whether or not the group of friends that you hang out with who like to gossip, whether that energy is impacting you. It is. Doesn't matter how strong you feel you are, how you're able to tune different things out and ignore it. No. If you're hanging out in those groups, that energy is impacting you, and it's either lifting you up, keeping you at the same place, or pulling you down. So, I've had this conversation with a number of clients recently and a number of folks who've been interested in working with me. And we talk about when you're doing some things, when you're doing some big things in life, like I've said, that if you aren't also making shifts in your environment, you really are making it tough on yourself. Because you can listen to a podcast like this and you can get all sorts of amazing conversation and insights and walk away feeling just pumped up. And then you can go read an awesome book. You crack open a book by Marianne Williamson and it's just full of just magic, and it just gets into your cells and you love every single moment of it. And then you might go to some amazing transformation weekend and you're around all these people and it's an amazing thing and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm feeling so pumped up. And then you step back into your normal environments. You go back to work. You're amongst the people, your coworkers, the folks you sit next to, the people that you see in the hallway, in the break room. You go back home. You're with your spouse. You're with your family, with your kids. You're around those conversations. You go out on the weekends. You go into your social groups. You hang out with your friends. And the amount of time that you're spending in these powerful, intentional, energetically uplifting conversations such as the podcasts and the books on the retreat weekends, the amount of time that you spend in those things truly does pale in comparison to the amount of time you're spending in those other environments. And so it's crucial that you're setting yourself up to win, whatever win looks like for you. It's crucial that you are becoming very aware of those environments that you're choosing to place yourself in. And that you're saying to yourself, okay, is this environment going to be lifting me up? Is this environment keeping me right where I'm at? Or is this environment pulling me down? And here's my recommendation. Eliminate environments that pull you down. Eliminate them. Minimize environments that do nothing for you. And just add more and more environments in your life that are uplifting you, that are feeding your spirit, nourishing your soul. You want as many of those as you possibly can. So that's conversation that I know you've heard before. I know you've had someone in your life talk about how you are the result of the people you hang around, yada, yada, yada. But now, how do you actually do something with that information? Because again, I know that if you're listening to this podcast, it's clear that you're playing for an abundant, loving life in some way, shape, or form. And I know that you don't simply want to just end this podcast episode and then that's it. Right? So here's a few things that you can do. First of all, assess those environments that you're in. Just take stock of where you spend most of your time, of the people that you are around most frequently. Look at them objectively. It might be tempting to get emotionally tied in and subjective right now. But I just want you to look at those things objectively and ask yourself, do they uplift me? Does this environment that I put myself in for all these hours every single day uplift me? Or does it do nothing for me? Or does it drag me down? And just answer that for now. You don't have to do anything, but you need to be aware. There might be some denials that are going on. And those denials tend to be related to emotional attachments or fear, right? But for right now, you're just getting a clear picture of what is. What is? Let's take a look. Write down on a piece of paper the major environments that you spend most of your time in. Just list them out and then say, okay, is it a 1 if it's dragging me down, a 2 if it's doing nothing for me, or a 3 if it's uplifting me? And just go ahead and understand what currently is in your life. Next, set some sort of standard for yourself. What sort of standard do you want to have for the environments that you choose to put yourself in? What types of people, what types of conversations do you want to be in? 1, 2s, or 3s? If you're going to allow 1s, okay, how many? How much of your time are you going to invest in environments and conversations that you ranked as a 1, as dragging you down? My recommendation is to eliminate them, but maybe that's just not feasible right now. Maybe that's not realistic, right? Maybe you're in a job that, you know what? It works for you in a lot of ways. In some ways, it really is a drag. But right now, totally upending your life and changing your job, it's just not something you want to do. I get it. All right? So when you're creating your standards for those environments, think about that. You know what? I'm willing to have 1 to 2 1 environments in my life, environments that drag me down. However, in those environments, this is what I'm willing to do. This is how I'm going to make sure that I keep my energy up, that I keep my perspective up. This is how I'm going to make sure that that energy impacts me only minimally, because you know it's going to impact you in some way. Let's just go ahead and own that. And the sooner that you own that, the sooner you can get to actually doing something about it. Let's say that, that work environment, I gave it a 1. It really drags me down, but I'm going to stay in it for reason A, B, and C, and that's okay. All right. So when I'm in my work environment, here are a few things that I can do to minimize the impact of that energy. I'm going to minimize side conversations with this person, that person, that person. I'm going to choose to rock some headphones and listen to some peaceful music or some awesome podcasts or some audiobooks or whatever. I'm going to, take my lunch outside as opposed to in the break room where all I hear is people talking about politics or fear things or whatever it is, right? You need to be able to say for yourself, you know what? I'm going to set some sort of standard for the environments that I have, because you always have a say. You always can choose how you want to show up and where you want to go. So set some sort of standard, and the hardest part about that is holding it. It's holding it. When that crew of friends that their conversation is mostly around a 1, that they tend to drag you down, but they're your friends. They've been your friends for years. The tough part is saying, oh my gosh, all right, we always go out on Friday nights, but listen, I need to cut back. I need to do every other Friday. I need to do 1 Friday a month. I'm not going to completely pull out because I don't really want to, because I do get something from the relationship, but I need to minimize how much I allow this energy to get into me, because I do recognize that it does impact me. That's the type of conversation that I want you to have around your environments. And then the third thing you can do is start getting into some new energy. Start seeking out more 3s, more environments that uplift you, more environments that encourage you, more environments that love you simply for who you are, more environments that see your greatness even when you don't, more environments that hold a powerful and loving space for you. They're out there. I don't care where you live. Those environments are out there. And the cool thing about technology and the internet right now is you don't even necessarily need to be in the physical presence of those folks to be able to be in connection and in communion with those folks. You can do it online, do it through Facebook. Join the Trust Challenge crew on Facebook. That's a really badass environment. That's a pretty uplifting environment. So if you know that in your life right now, your environments are a major factor in you experiencing life the way that you are, if you're able to recognize that, then again, I want you to assess where those environments are at. Are they a 1? Are they dragging you down? Are they a 2? Are they doing nothing for you? Are they a 3? Are they uplifting you? Then I want you to set a standard for yourself. What types of environments are you going to allow yourself to be in? How many ones are you willing to put yourself in? And how do you want to show up in those environments? And the third thing, get into some new energy, get into some new environments. Seek out what you want to experience. Seek out those people. They're out there. Absolutely, they're out there. And, I'll close this episode just by saying this. At the end of the day, your environment does not make or break you. It doesn't. Because ultimately, you have free will. You have choice. You can create meaning and significance out of anything. But your environments, they can act like ankle weights to your progress, to your growth, to your healing, or they can act like boosters. And I know for myself, I'll just speak personally right now, I'm very clear that I have little time for ankle weights. I have little desire to be adding ankle weights in my life. Every once in a while, I dip my toe and I think, oh, okay, that's why I got out of that environment. Clear. I just needed to know. I just needed to remind myself why I don't interact with those people, why I don't hang out in those circles, why I don't frequent those places. And that's okay. Every once in a while, you might need to dip your toe in. But when you align with environments that are boosting you, that are just propelling you forward, that are uplifting you, it makes this stuff so much more achievable. It makes it feel more effortless when, all of these things that we talk about on this show, aligning with your truest self, healing some of those things that are just, you're just holding on to, growing in these different ways. Like that can feel so challenging at times. It can feel so difficult. It can feel so scary. And I have found that the more environments I place myself in so that I can bounce from powerful conversation to powerful conversation, I can bounce from uplifting energy source to uplifting energy source. I can bounce from love to love to love to love to love. When I'm doing that and I'm able to move in that way, I continue to rise. Even when I'm in my stuff, even when things are hard, even when things are scary. Because I'm around people and I'm around conversations that are filling me up, that are nourishing my spirit, that are empowering me. And that's why we want to be so aware of our environments and very careful with the environments we place ourselves in. So, share with me some environments that you want to shift up. If anybody wants to use me as a source of accountability, I've had a number of you all lately make proclamations. I'm going to do this, and I want to share it with you right now, Matthew, because I want you to hold me accountable. I love that. I love when y'all are bold. It's amazing. It fires me up. I had somebody today tell me, you know what? You're going to be interviewing me in 5 years. I was like, that is some bold stuff. I absolutely love that. So if you want to make a proclamation right now about some environments, if you want to tell me, you know what? I'm committed to shifting my environments by the end of the year, in the next 6 months, whatever it is. Cool. Hit me up. I'm happy to hold that space for you. Matthew_Bivens on Instagram, mattcbivens@gmail.com. Let's get into conversation. Let's keep these conversations flowing. That's how we can stay in some more empowering environments too. We keep conversations flowing. So reach out to me. Come join us in the Trust Challenge. That is an environment that is purely about showing up for yourself. It's purely about self-love, self-care. It's so empowering. It's so amazing. Come join us. That's an awesome, awesome place to feel all this stuff and to rep it. Let's move beyond just talking about this stuff, beyond just getting fueled up and fired up when I'm speaking about it. Get into some action. For everybody out there who's like, you know what, I want to get into some new energy. Well, one easy place to get into some new energy is just to join the free Trust Challenge. It's totally free. That's an amazing way to get into some new energy, to be having conversations with people who are also making deposits in their lives, who are also showing up for themselves powerfully. That's what it's about. You want to be around those types of people. Because those are the folks who are going to be encouraging you when you're doing awesome, and are going to be there to just speak some truth and love into your ear when you're not doing so great. It's those folks who are already showing up for themselves and who have repped showing up for themselves powerfully. You don't want to necessarily be the savior amongst your group of friends, the only woke person amongst your group of people. Nah, I'm not interested in being that person. There's a lot of resources I can point them to. There's a lot of places I can say, hey, go check this out. But I don't want to be that one person trying to deliver all of this healing and growth to people. Nah, my ego doesn't need that. I want to be around folks who are showing up even more consistently than I am, who are repping it even harder than I am, who are being more just loving themselves, truly appreciating and accepting themselves. Those are the folks that I want to hang around. Whew. I love how these episodes, like the end, so often I just really get flowing and it just sort of meanders. It's really cool. It's fun for me. So yes, let's keep conversations flowing. Join us in the Trust Challenge, all that amazing stuff. And just keep being awesome. Keep being yourselves. Keep being amazing. All right. My name is Matthew Bivens. Here's to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.